Why does an alliance built to fight the Soviet Union still exist, 33 years after the Soviet Union died? NATO started with 12 countries. Today it has 32. And the story of how it got there might be the real reason we're watching a war in Europe right now. 1949. The Cold War is barely underway. 12 Western nations sign a mutual defense pact. NATO's first Secretary General, Lord Ismay, described its purpose with zero ambiguity. Keep the Russians out, keep the Americans in, keep the Germans down. That was NATO's job for 42 years, contain the Soviet Union. Then, in 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. NATO's enemy ceased to exist, and a real question emerged. Should NATO dissolve too? Its entire reason for existing had just vanished. What was the point? Then something remarkable happened. Boris Yeltsin, the president of the new Russian Federation, sent a letter to NATO. He expressed Russia's interest in joining the alliance. Russia, joining NATO, the Cold War's core tension could have simply evaporated. NATO never seriously pursued it. Meanwhile, another conversation was happening. February 1990. Germany is about to reunify. U.S. Secretary of State James Baker sits across from Mikhail Gorbachev. Baker tells him NATO's jurisdiction will not move 1 inch eastward. 1 inch. That's the phrase. It was captured in declassified State Department memos. But no formal treaty was ever signed. A verbal assurance. No legal weight. A gray zone both sides would exploit for the next 3 decades. 1999. NATO expands for the first time since the Cold War. Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, 3 former Soviet bloc nations, now under NATO's umbrella. Russia protested. NATO said it was a defensive alliance, open to anyone, no threat intended. 2004. The second major wave. 7 countries join at once, including the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. NATO's eastern border is now 100 miles from St. Petersburg. That's the distance from New York City to Philadelphia. Between 1999 and 2020, NATO absorbed 14 former Soviet allies or Soviet republics. Each time, NATO told Moscow it posed no threat. Each time, the border moved closer. Article 5, NATO's Mutual Defense Clause. An attack on one is an attack on all. It's been invoked exactly once. September 12, 2001. European allies invoked Article 5 to defend America. The alliance designed to protect Europe from the East was first activated to protect America from the Middle East. NATO says it's a defensive alliance. Any sovereign nation should be free to join. No country gets a veto over another country's security choices. That's the position. Russia sees it differently. A defensive alliance that keeps moving its border closer to your cities is not behaving defensively. Neither side was going to back down. February 2022, Russia invades Ukraine. Part of Russia's stated justification, preventing Ukraine from ever joining NATO. Finland, neutral for decades, applied to join NATO within months of the invasion. Sweden followed. Both joined in record time. Finland's membership alone doubled NATO's land border with Russia. 830 miles of new frontier, overnight. Putin invaded Ukraine to stop NATO from growing. Instead, he triggered its fastest expansion in decades. The exact opposite of what he wanted. NATO was built for a world that no longer exists. But the tension it creates is more alive than ever. One side says every nation has the right to choose its own alliances. The other says a growing military alliance on your border is an act of aggression by another name. Both sides have logic, and that's exactly why this doesn't end clean. Which side do you think has it right? If you like stories like these, please like and subscribe.